Good evening. My name is Yogen Kumar. I'm a maths teacher at askIITians. Okay. Today we are going to do lecture number 1 on our chapter congruency of triangles, right? Congruency of the figures we are going to see. Okay. So, okay, let's start, guys. Okay, we need to understand it from the basics. Okay. We need to make sure that we are covering all the things related to it, and I'll try to make it as easy as possible for you, right? This chapter is there in 8th grade and 9th grade. Okay, you will be studying later on also. So that's why it is really important to understand the basics here so that you will find it very easy, okay, like comparatively easier in the other grades, right? So we will do these topics today. Okay, as you can see here. Okay, we are going to see how do we define what do you mean by congruency, right? Congruency is what? Now congruency of angles and lines, okay, we are going to see. Then criteria of congruency of triangles, we are going to see these all things, right, in today's lecture. Okay, so let me just start with definition of congruency first. Okay, what we say in geometry, two figures are or objects are said to be congruent if they have same shape and same size. Okay, so not only the shape, size is also has to be same. So this is what, okay, we need to remember. Same shape is there, plus and same size. So then it is what? It leads to what? Congruent figure. Congruent figures, right? Now, why I'm writing here figures? Because it could be anything. Like if I write squares of same dimension, like 5 centimeter here, and another square is there. So they are congruent, right? If I name it A, B, C, D, and this is P, Q, R, S. So they are congruent, right? Why? Because if I keep one over the other, it will completely overlap. Means they are like exact figure, right? These are what? Congruent to each other. So these are the congruent figures, right? There is something called as, okay, similar. If I make a square which is what, 2 centimeter and 2 centimeter, and its name is, let's say, STUV. So STUV and PQRS are similar, or ABCD and STUV are similar. They're not congruent, right? They're not congruent. So they have in similar, what we have, if same shape but not same size, what do we say? They are similar figures. Okay, they are similar figures. Same shape but not same size, right? So they are similar figures, but they're not congruent. Congruent means what? Exact copies are there. They are like exactly looking alike, right? So they are exactly looking alike means what? They are same shape also, they look alike also, and their size is also same. Then we will call them, they are congruent. If they look alike but they are not of same size, like these two squares, 2 centimeter square and 5 centimeter square, is what? They look alike but they're not of same size, right? So they are not congruent, they are similar. They are similar. So this is what, I hope you got the idea, right? You understand, I think this, okay, this is all written here. We will study in detail. Okay, so now if one shape can become another using turns, flips, or slides, then these shapes are congruent, right? So these are the two shapes. If I rotate it, okay, if I turn it, it is what? Exactly going to align with this, right? So that's why it is what, They're congruent. Here also they're congruent. If I flip it, okay, they're congruent, right? So this is what pretty basic thing. I think you are understanding it. Let's see what we have in your NCERT textbook. Okay, see these two pictures are what exactly same size and same shape. Stamps are there. These are the stamps. Okay, so we can see they're like congruent. They're exact figures, right? Now here two blades are there. Two letters are there, right? Like that. They are of exact size, right? So congruency of plane figures is what we say here. We are going to see these two shapes. Okay, you can see here this first shape and the second shape. They are what exactly same, right? Exactly similar, right? You can understand, I believe. Congruency among the lines and line segments, right? Okay, so we can see that is what our next topic. Okay, we are going to see here congruency of angles and lines. So what do we say here? Congruency of angles and lines. Angles will be exactly equal, right? Now before coming to this congruency of angles and line, we need to understand corresponding word also, right? Corresponding, okay, we can understand that later also. Okay, no problem. Let's understand congruency of angles and congruency of line segment. So BC is equal to B dash C dash, right? And angle B is equal to angle B dash here. So if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal line, then corresponding angles are congruent, right? They are equal. They are of equal measurement when are two line segments congruent. So when they have exact length, right? Observe the 2 points, 2 lines here. So AB and CD, they are congruent, right? Because they are of same length. PQ is not of same length, so that's why they're not equal. Use the trace copy superposition method of the pair of line segments, right? I hope you're getting it. If two line segments have the same length, they are congruent, right? Two line, because there is nothing else to see. Only what is the dimension in the line we have. Only what? Only what is the dimension we have in the line segment. Only this is there. Only length is there. So that's why we can say what, that it is what they are congruent. By if their lengths are equal, then we can say they are congruent. Okay, let me put this thing here in the notes. Yes, this is what you need to remember. Right? So if two line segments have same length, then they are congruent. Also, two line segments are congruent. They have equal length, right? Converse is also true, right? So I can make any line segment here, right? I can make a line segment here, which is what AB. Let's say 5 centimeter, and there is another line segment which is PQ. This is also 5 centimeter. So AB line segment is congruent to PQ, right? This is what congruency symbol you need to remember. AB line segment is congruent to this, right? Here, this triangle, okay, like this, okay, A, B, C, and now this is what, okay, suppose it is what, P, Q, R. So A, B, C is congruent to triangle PQR, right? Corresponding angles, okay, like this here. Why? Because if I rotate it, if I keep it over it, okay, it is going to give you the exact. It is going to cover it completely, right? So that's what it is, right? I hope you're understanding it. So let's move on to our more examples. We can see, okay, from the book, okay, like this here, from your textbook itself. So this is what it is there. Now, what is congruency of angles? Congruency of angles are, these are equal angles, so they are congruent. Angle ABC is congruent to angle PQR, right? So in shapes and all, we can say that they are equal, right? just simply you say that they are equal, so they are congruent. MLMN is not congruent, right? This is not congruent. These angles are congruent. First, second, fourth, right? Third one is not congruent, right? So this is what we can see congruency of angles here. I hope you are getting it. Okay, it is pretty easy, right? Let me put this also in for you in the notes, right? I think you can understand this, right? So these points are what you need to remember. I hope you have the clarity on these topics. Okay, this is what we need to remember. Okay. So that is what we have. Now let's see further how we can see the congruency more in our. So this for your NCERT book thing only. Okay, you can remember. So we write here like this. Okay, angle ABC is congruent to angle PQR. So measure of angle ABC, M for measure of angle ABC is equals to measure of angle PQR. Right? We have this. So this is what you need to remember. Right? Now congruency of triangles. We have seen, right, ABC triangle is congruent to PQR. So here corresponding angles are equal. So triangle. Now this is what very important. Okay, here to understand that congruency of angles and lines we have seen, right? Congruency of triangles is what we need to see that, okay, when our two triangles are congruent, okay, we can see this, okay, when their corresponding angles are equal, right? We can see that. So we need to understand that congruency of triangles is what we saw that two line segments are congruent where one of them is the just copy of other. Similarly, two angles are congruent if one of them is copy of the other one. We extend this idea to the triangles, right? So when their corresponding sides are equal and angles are equal, so we say that triangles are congruent. Two triangles are congruent if they are copies of each other when superimposed. They cover one another exactly, right? So this concept only what we learned, okay, lines and all, okay, if they superimpose each other completely, then they are what congruent, right? Now corresponding vertices, this is really really very important, guys. Okay, this is what you need to pay attention to. Okay, that when do we say that two triangles, when we say two triangles are congruent, so then corresponding angles are going to be equal. We need to see that, right? Corresponding angles are what we need to look at. One second, guys. I'll leave the notes for you. So let me just keep it here. That I hope you're getting it. Okay, let me move this from here. So congruency of triangles, we are right understanding here, right? So congruency of triangles we can see here. This is what congruency of triangles. So triangle, this triangle ABC is congruent to. Let me show it to you here. Okay, this triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ABC is congruent to triangle PQR. If it is so, okay, if it is there, if as they look like, okay, they are superimposing each other, then angle A is equal to or congruent to angle B, right? Now angle B is congruent to angle Q. Angle C is equal to angle R, right? Now these are what corresponding angles, right? Corresponding angles these are, right? So this is what we are understanding here, that these becomes corresponding angles. So that is what the main thing you need to understand. AB line corresponds to what here? PQ. EC line corresponds to what? PR. and BC line corresponds to QR. Corresponding means we are comparing. Okay, when ABC, this order is important. AB corresponds to what? PQ. BC corresponds to what? QR. And finally, what? AC, the third side, AC and PR are corresponding. AC and PR, right? You can see here, this corresponds to this. Now this corresponds to this. Now this is what corresponding to this here, right? Like that it is. I hope you are getting it, right? This is what we need to remember. So corresponding vertices are there, corresponding sides are there, corresponding angles are there, right? You can see clearly angle A corresponds to angle P, angle B corresponds to angle Q, angle C corresponds to angle R, right? This angle corresponds to this angle corresponds to this, and this angle, third angle, is what here, it is what corresponding, right? So this is how we are relating it. Corresponding vertices are there, corresponding sides are there, corresponding angles are there. And by the way, this is what corresponding symbol. A corresponds to B, B corresponds to Q, C corresponds to R, and then triangle ABC corresponds to, we may write, okay, this is what congruent, right? Corresponds to PQR, like that, right? So this is what it is. Now let's see examples. Example number 1. Triangle ABC and triangle PQR are congruent under the correspondence. Okay. So this is what under this corresponds. Means what? A corresponds to R, B corresponds to Q, and C corresponds to P. Write the parts of ABC that corresponds to. Okay. I think we can do it easily. PQ. PQ. PQ corresponds to what? CB. Okay, corresponds I need to write. Okay, let me erase it. So what it will be, can you understand? PQ, CB. CD. Angle Q corresponds to angle B. RP. RP is what? This one, so AC. Right, I hope you got it. CB. Now this is what angle B, and this is AC, right? I hope you got it, right? This is what we are understanding here. So this is what corresponding. This is what mainly you need to get the understanding out of it. Okay, right? I hope you got the idea. This is how we do. Let's see, think, discuss what we write. Okay, so this is what, when two triangles, say ABC and PQ, are given, there are in all 6 possibilities. Okay, possible matching corresponding. Okay, like this here, like this, it could be there. Okay, two line segments are congruent if they're equal, right? Among two congruent angles, one has the measure of 70 degree, the measure of other angle. Congruent angles are there, so it will be 70 degree itself. When we write angle A is equals to angle B, the V actually means they are corresponding, right? Give any two real life examples of congruent shapes. Squares are there, right? We see exact boxes at your home. Okay, like those are like exact congruent shapes. Okay, we can see, right? Two mobile phones of same screen size. Okay, we can say they are like of same congruent shape. Okay, like that we have. Okay, if triangle ABC is congruent to triangle FED, then they are under this correspondence. Okay, like this here. Let's do this question. Okay, here ABC corresponds to FED. Write all the corresponding congruent parts of the triangle, right? So what we can say, A corresponds to F, B corresponds to E, and C corresponds to D. You can write AB corresponds to FE, BC corresponds to ED, and AC corresponds to FD, right? Like that you can write down. Okay, these are congruent. DEF is congruent to BCA, triangle BCA. Parts BCA that corresponds to angle E corresponds to what? Angle C. EF corresponds to CA. I hope you are understanding this. Angle F corresponds to what? Angle A. DF corresponds to what? BA. Right? This is how we do it. Correct? So now we have criterias for congruency. We will see that, okay, SSS congruency is there. They're explaining here with the game, okay, thing, okay, like that. Okay, we will see this. Okay, so this is what we are going to see here. Let's see more examples or more understanding here. So we have criterias of congruency. SSS is what our congruency. Now, what do they mean by congruency criterias? Okay, let me explain you. They mean to say here that if any two triangles are satisfying these conditions, okay, if any two triangles are satisfying these conditions, then we can say they are exact copies of each other. They are exact copies of each other if they are satisfying these conditions which we are going to discuss. Okay, so what are the criterias or what are the conditions? Their corresponding sides has to be equal. Corresponding sides are equal means uh, one triangle is of 3, 4, 5 centimeter sides respectively, and then other triangle is also of 3, 4, 5. So obviously they're going to cover each other, right? That is what SSS congruency. SAS congruency is what? Side congruency. Okay, so means two sides, any two sides, and in between angle of those are equal to the other triangle. Okay, so then they are congruent. ASA congruency, angle and between side. Okay. Now AAS congruency, that is also there, like two angles and one of the side, any of the side. RHS congruency is there, right? This RHS is congruency is what? For right angle triangle. So right angle hypotenuse side. Okay. Don't worry. We will see these all congruency criteria in detail. Okay. No need to worry about it. As of now, just remember these are the criteria or these are the conditions by which we can say if any two triangles are having these criteria fulfilled, then we can say that they are congruent to each other, right? That is what we need to remember. So we have seen this. Okay, now let's do this question. Under a given correspondence, two triangles are congruent if three sides of the one triangle are equal to three corresponding sides of other triangle. The above one is known as what? Clearly, three sides. Okay, what is the answer? Triple S congruency. Okay, S congruency. Because you are saying, okay, simply that okay, we have two triangles whose measurement is something like this. Though their names are different, but dimensions are same. A, B, C, P, Q, R. Now three. This is 5. This is 4. This is 3. This is 5, this is 4. So their corresponding sides are equal. So that's why, what is the congruency they are having? Are they going to cover each other or not, or superimpose each other or not? Yes, because they are of exactly same size, right? So what we got? We have same size here, right? So they are going to cover. Wait, did I take a different question here? Yes, this is what the question. Okay, guys, you need to remember this. Now let me. Okay, let me put this image there. Okay. Okay, so this is what it is. What we are saying here. No problem. Okay, this was an example for the above one. I just moved to next slide. Okay, but this is what exactly this figure is for the previous question. Now I want to make for this one. Okay, under the given condition, the two sides and the angle included. Okay, so this is what mentioned here. Angle included is what? So let me show it to you. It is what like this. Now this is 3, this is 5. Now angle between them. Okay, angle between them is what? 60, let's say. Now here P, Q, R. This is 3, this is 5, and this is what 60. Now this side is how much we don't know. but we know how much is the angle. That is what it is given. So we can say they are congruent. And which is the congruency? SAS congruency. Two sides and angle included by those two sides, angle made by those two sides are what? Equal, right? So this is what it is happening here. I hope you're getting it, right? What I'm trying to say. So this is what we are having here, right? This is the situation we have right now. Let's move on to next slide. If triangle ABC is then okay. So, what is the exact meaning of this thing here, guys? We need to make the correction here. Congruency it is equal. There is no meaning of two triangles are equal like that. Okay, they're congruent. ABC is congruent to PQR. A corresponds to what? A corresponds to P, right? So we can say this is what our answer. Simple answer, right? What is, if I say angle B corresponds to what? Angle B corresponds to Q. Angle Q. Angle C corresponds to what? Angle R. AB corresponds to what? PQ. BC corresponds to what? QR, right? And AC corresponds to what? PR, right? These are the things we have, right? So this is what you need to remember. I hope you're getting it, right? So these things are what we need to make sure that we are understanding corresponding parts and all, right? You can see many more things about it. Okay, that like okay, what vertices? Vertices A corresponds to vertices B. Vertices B corresponds to vertices C. Vertices C corresponds to vertices A corresponds to vertices B. Vertices B corresponds to vertices Q, and vertices C corresponds to vertices R here, right? So like that we can understand this. We want to show that triangle ART and triangle PN are congruent. Okay, these are what? Congruent. Just make this correction. And we have to use SSS criteria. We have AR is equals to PE, AR is equals to PE, and RT is equals to EN. What more we need to show? We need to, okay, see, two sides are already equal given. What more we need to show? We need to show that AT is equals to PN, right? That's all. That is what, because all the sides, right? All the corresponding sides has to be equal. So that's why we need to show that more, right? I hope these are very easy questions. You're able to do them easily, right? I hope you're finding it very, very easy, right? We need to continue our discussion more in the next class, right? We need to do further more on this. But I hope you got the clear idea what is the congruency criteria, right? What are the congruencies we have, right? So two triangles. What if I summarize it all? Okay, we say two triangles are congruent. Basically this thing congruency we came up, see, we cannot write down this triangle is equal to this triangle. That doesn't make sense. Like, it is not equal. We say two triangles are congruent, or two figures are congruent, right? Means exact copy of each other, right? When they have same shape plus same size and shape both are same. If their shape is same, that is similar figure. That also we need to study. Similar triangles, right? We will study that later on. Means in higher grades we need to study. As of now you have congruencies only in your syllabus, so just study that as of now, right? So they are mirror image of each other, right? So we have seen what are congruent triangles. Okay, what are congruent line segments? Okay, equal line segments are congruent line segments. Equal angles are congruent angles, right? So two triangles are said to be congruent triangles if they satisfy these all criteria. There are these five criteria: SSS, SAS, ASA, AAS, and RHS. We will discuss these all criteria next class, okay, in more detail, okay. But as of now, you can just remember their names, okay. So these criteria should be fulfilled. You need to understand what do you mean by corresponding things and all, right? So I hope you got the idea, okay. So watch next lecture also to understand this chapter completely. There is one more lecture on this chapter, okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.